Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another edition of Did You See That? I'm Mike, and if you're brand new to the channel, please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're coming back to the channel, welcome your faces once again to another video. And today is a very exciting video once again because I've managed to get, through a good friend of mine, a screener to the movie The Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre. The movie itself is directed by Max Martini, who at first I was like, okay, well, who is Max Martini? But when I looked up this director, it turns out he's done a couple of other director features before. However, he's mainly been an actor throughout his career, and I mainly know him from the Purge TV series, but he's also starred in Pacific Rim, 50 Shades of Grey, and yeah, this guy has mainly had a bigger actor career than directing, but he's kind of branching out into that field of directing, so, you know, applauding Max Martini where he deserves it. I've also got a list of notes here about the other actors and actresses in this, because I don't know all of them apart from Randy Couture. So we've also got a Baz Rutten as Evil Dutch Dagger, Chris Margitas as Stone. We've also got Mike O'Hearn as Radiant Bobby, who is one of the Manson brothers with Chris Margitas, Karen Corona as Mina. So the plot of the movie is, after being relegated, two former wrestling brother fighters have signed up to a new game. However, by signing up to this new game, they didn't know that they're going to be in an arena fighting zombies. So what I can honestly say about this movie, I'm a bit conflicted on how I feel about this one, simply because I definitely feel like there was elements in Max Martini's vision that paid off really well, and I certainly feel like he's adapted some of his previous acting work and some of maybe the makeup effects and stuff included in that and put it into this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed certain elements of this movie. Not all of it lands, so let's just get straight into my positives. So definitely when the zombies kick into action in around about mainly the last half hour of this movie, all shit goes to pot. This movie goes all out crazy, but it's kind of embracing what the theme of the movie overall is in that last kind of third act section, which I really applauded because I thoroughly enjoyed the latter half of this movie when it came to the zombies and like the visual effects or the makeup effects and kind of just the blood and gore. Awesome. I wish the movie had more of that. So what I can also see as well is the dynamic of our two leads, Chris Margitas as Stone Manson and also Mike O'Hearn as Radiant Bobby. Those two and their kind of brotherhood and chemistry between them, especially as they've kind of been professional fighters for 20 years, yeah, it was great for most part. Some of the comedy elements between them worked. I got a few kind of giggles here and there. But I just like how they kind of sold the premise of them being a professional wrestling tag team. I am a wrestling fan. Yes, I don't follow it as much as I did as a kid, but it was just really cool to see that kind of wrestling dynamic play out in this movie. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the kind of backstage elements of this about, right, who is going to put each other over in a wrestling match, or kind of like calling the spots where it's going to lead to ultimately like a big finale finish. I really appreciated the background that went into those elements, and it certainly felt as if there was maybe tips given from pro wrestling, or Max Martini himself is maybe a professional wrestling fan, because you can definitely sense some of that inside of this premise. The first 20 minutes, again, I was just focusing on our two leads. Kind of like really fun to watch. It was just really interesting as to where their career had started, as to where it was going to go. So with all that in mind, let's just get to my negatives of the movie, because as I mentioned, I love the first 20 minutes and I also love the kind of third act of the movie. That second act feels as if they kind of throw too much in there, or feels as if there's one too many characters in this movie. It kind of runs down the film's pacing. There's elements that drag, unfortunately, and with those elements that do drag, it brings the pacing and narrative down the film kind of considerably, which was a shame, because unfortunately what also hinders this movie is right at the beginning we get this kind of like redneck hillbilly family, that kind of vibe of a family. Now with these three characters, there's kind of like a husband and a wife, or at least partners, and it looks like the man's son. He has this comic book of the Manson brothers, what the dad's going to be kind of like telling them throughout. This is what it's about and this story. The family dynamic at the beginning just wasn't really interesting, to be honest. I'd rather it had where it focused on, say, like a desert setting. There was this comic book out in the middle of the desert, and then the wind was kind of like flicking the pages over as the story's going. I feel like that would have been kind of like a better narrative, and I didn't like any of the families. So in essence, them trying to bring into this reality about this story of the Manson brothers just didn't work for me. Now the runtime is around an hour and a half. It definitely could have been trimmed down about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It takes so long to kind of get into the zombie build-up, and yes, I appreciate that you have to have like kind of like a little bit of a build-up to explain as to where this zombie kind of presence is coming from and how that's going to expand into our ultimate third act. But it just takes too long to get to that point. My score for the Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre is... So yeah, there's also something in this movie as well that at the end kind of leads into something that could possibly happen in the future. And if it does, I can't exactly say I'm too excited for that. However, it would be intriguing as to how they would play that out. Have you seen the Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre? If you have, leave your comments down below and let me know what you thought of the movie. And one other thing I've got to mention is that this movie comes out on September 10th, I believe, on theaters and on demand. Also, in the meantime, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button and again the subscribe button just down below. And until the next time that I see you, I'll be seeing you later.